Good morning, everybody. Coming at you a little earlier this morning. And so, um, clearly I'm not at the studio, so I decided to do a flow at home so that this is actually not my house, it's my boyfriend's house, but he has a lot more space than I do. So I came over here. My house is kind of a shoebox. So I wanted to do something from home because that way you can kind of see that it is, doable to have a home practice. I know it's really hard to practice at home. I even have a room in my house that I like to do yoga in, but right now it's full of junk. So I know it is hard, but if you have a room that you don't often use, maybe a living room or a sitting room or a dining room or something like that, I just moved his coffee table out of the way, and this is a nice little space, and this rug is super soft. So I'm just gonna hang out here today. And so today we're just gonna do a little mini flow, super gentle. For those of you that just kind of want something a little bit softer, Jessica will be doing a flow with you guys tomorrow at 11, so Saturday morning at 11. And so we'll kind of keep doing this until we need to. All right, so we're gonna start out just seated, however you like to sit comfortably. You don't have to cross your legs, you can do whatever feels good. And then let your hands rest on top of your knees with the palms up. And we'll just start here with a little bit of some deep breaths and to set intention. So take a nice deep breath in. Full exhale. And deep breath in. And exhale. And another deep breath in. And exhale. And then gently blinking the eyes open if you had them closed, and reminding yourself that your practice is wherever, whenever, however, right? And so I know that personally I like to have a nice clean space to have a place to move and breathe. I really enjoy being able to do my personal practice at the studio, and at home, it's a little chaotic, and my cat tries to just sit in front of the camera the entire time. So it is important to find a space. I actually wanted to practice outside, but the grass is kind of wet. So I didn't want, to suggest that. But it is a great idea to practice outside, especially if you're barefoot. It's a good way to discharge a lot of that energy. It will make you feel a lot better, I promise. So we're gonna go ahead and start out and allowing ourselves to sit up nice and tall, roll the shoulders back, and setting the intention of practicing being present, especially when we feel like our minds are being pulled in many directions, and reminding ourselves that it is okay to feel whatever it is that we're feeling, that the feeling is not permanent, that it won't last forever, and to give ourselves permission to take time to help release whatever it is that we're feeling, whatever it is that we're thinking, to give ourselves an outlet. And that may be moving and breathing, that may be taking a walk, that may be sitting quietly, that may be taking a bath, that may be baking or cooking, but giving ourselves something to kind of let that excess energy out, right? That restless, nervous, anxious energy. So with the next breath in, reaching out and up. Maybe palms touch. Exhale, reach out and down. Good. Inhale again, reach out and up. This time interlace fingers except for index, like Charlie's Angels. And with your next breath in, reach up and over to the right. And give yourself a little side body stretch. Inhale, back to center. Pause here. Exhale, relax the shoulders. Inhale, up and over to the left. Good. Back to center with the breath in, with the exhale, releasing the hands. And we're going to go ahead and make our way forward to hands and knees. So however you like to come to hands and knees, bringing wrists under shoulders and knees under hips. This like little ray of light is keeping my legs warm. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chest, coming into cow. Exhale, round the spine, curl in. Inhale, drop to cow. Exhale, round out, curl in. Just kind of moving a little bit more slowly this morning. Inhale to cow. And exhale, round out. And then we're going to go ahead and take a couple of sets of cat-cow, but on forearms. So you're going to pop down so that your your elbows are underneath your shoulders and your wrists are in line with your elbows. So you make these little 90-degree angles with your arms. Knees are still under hips. Inhale, drop to cow. Exhale, round out, curl in, chin to chest. Inhale to cow. Exhale, round out. And again, inhale, drop into cow. Exhale and round out. And then coming back to neutral, we'll come forward again to our hands and knees. And this time we'll do a little bit of spinal rotation. So keeping wrists under shoulders, we're going to take the weight into the right hand. Take the left hand to the back of the head, like you make a little headrest for yourself. With my breath in, I'm going to spiral my left elbow open, like I'm going to tap the ceiling. Exhale, maybe think about tapping the right forearm. Inhale, open up. Exhale, twist. Inhale to open. Exhale. And again, inhale, open. And exhale to tap. And then coming back to neutral, left hand under the left shoulder, right hand to the back of the head. I don't know why I did the left side first, that was weird. Inhale, open up. Exhale, round it out, give a little tap if you can. Inhale, open up. Exhale, round. Inhale. Exhale. And then once more, inhale. Exhale. Come to neutral, release the right hand. From here, tuck the toes under, so the hips to the heels, stretch out your toes a little bit, maybe rock side to side if it feels good. Breathe here. Take a deep breath, and with the exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Relax the head and neck. Relax the shoulders. From down dog, inhale forward to plank. Good, pause here. And then exhale, bring it back, down dog. Again, inhale, roll it forward to plank. Pause, exhale, chin to chest, down dog. Good, once more, inhale forward. And then exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. And just kind of hang out here. Relax the head and neck, maybe pedal out if it feels good, or bend your knees. Or if down dog doesn't feel great this morning, maybe just hang out on hands and knees, that's cool too. And then with the next breath in, come forward to plank once again like you did before. This time with the exhale, we're going to lower all the way down onto our mats or onto our rugs or onto our floors. Fingertips are going to stay in line with the chest, elbows in. Keep the head and neck relaxed here. Think about bringing the big toes together, the heels away. On the inhale, lift to a little teeny tiny cobra. So it's just a baby cobra, shoulders roll back, elbows in. Exhale, relax down. Maybe inhale, lift to a little bit of a higher cobra. Exhale, bring it back down. Once more, inhale to lift. Exhale, relax down. Pause here, take a deep breath. And then with the exhales, with the hips to the heels, take the knees wide, toes together, sit back into child's pose. Remember that if you don't like your child's pose with your knees wide, you can always go knees together. If child's pose doesn't feel restful to you, you can always just take a different resting pose, maybe just kind of sit for a second. So whatever position you're taking, make sure that it feels restful. Relax the head and neck, relax the shoulders wherever you are. If you're in child's pose, arms can reach forward or back. And breathe here. And take three deep breaths. And from here, I'm going to come forward to hands and knees. Push back to downward facing dog. Stretch back. Look forward, and with the exhale, step or walk. My feet to my hands. Take as many steps as you need to here. Bend the knees if you like to. As you inhale, come up halfway, lengthen. Exhale, fold back down. Bend the knees, drop the hips, roll up. Breathing in as you roll up. Shoulders down the back with the exhale. Inhale, reach. Exhale to fold. Inhale, lengthen halfway. Exhale, fold back down. Bend the knees, drop the hips, roll up. Breathing in. Shoulders down the back with the exhale. Again, inhale to reach. Exhale as you fold. Inhale to lengthen halfway. On the exhale, fold back down. And then from here, again, put a little bend in the knees, separate the feet a little bit wider if that feels good. Relax your head and neck, and go ahead and grab opposite elbows, or you can leave your fingertips down here, whatever feels good. You can sway side to side if that feels good. Shake out the head and neck if that feels good. And then releasing the elbows. Inhale to lengthen halfway. Exhale, gently fold back down. Once more, bend the knees, drop the hips, roll up. Breathing in as you roll up. Shoulders down the back with the exhale. Keeping the feet, again, about the width of the hips, or maybe a little bit wider. On the, on the breath in, reach out and up. Grab the left wrist with your right hand. So I'm just grabbing my wrist with my hand, and palm is going to face the side. On the breath in, I'm going to reach up and over, gently pulling on that wrist. And I want to be sure that the tailbone and the pelvis stay neutral. Good. And I can look forward, I can look up, or I can even rest my head. And then inhale back to center, pause here with the exhale, switch sides. So now I'm going to grab my right wrist with my left hand. My palm faces the side. Inhale, reach up and over. And again, I can look forward, up, or rest. And then inhale back to center. With the exhale, release the arms down. Good. From here, I'm going to bring my feet to about the width of my hips if they're not already there. And so from here, I'm just going to work on a little bit of balance. So I'm going to turn. And so my feet are about the width of the hips. Hands are going to come onto the hips. I'm going to shift the weight onto the right foot and just come up onto the ball of my left foot. Right? So I can just hang out here if it feels good. If I like to, I can flex the left foot and let it hover. But I always have the floor there to tap down if I need to. I can lift a little higher if it feels good, keeping the foot flexed. If you're more comfortable holding onto a wall here, a table, or a chair, go ahead and take those options and breathe. Good. I'm going to take another very deep breath. Exhale here, and then with my next breath, I'm going to think about my left leg kind of like a little door, and I'm going to open the door with my breath in. Good. So I'm just getting into the hip a little bit. Ooh. And I'm going to fall out, and then I'm going to come back up. And then with my next breath, I'm going to close the door. Inhale here. With the exhale, press the heel forward, and then step down. I can do a little shake if I need to. And then I'm going to shift the weight onto the left foot, come up onto the ball of the right foot. Maybe I hang out here, right? Maybe I hover the right foot and hang out there. I can always tap down if I need to. Maybe I lift a bit higher, your choice. But remember, you want to find stability before anything else. And so if that stability comes from tapping a wall or holding a chair or something, take that, that's okay. Shoulders relaxed down the back. And then again, I'm going to imagine my leg is like a little door, and I'm just going to open the door. So with my breath, I'm going to open up. Hold here, foot flexed, getting into the hip. Take another breath. Exhale, I'm going to close the door, breathe in. This time, exhale, press the heel forward, work into the quad, and then relax back down. And I'm going to shake out, and we'll do a little vinyasa here. So inhale, reach. Exhale and fold. Inhale to lengthen halfway. Exhale to fold back down. I'm going to place my hands down and step back to plank. And then from plank, you can lower any kind of way you want to. You don't have to lower. I'm going to super duper modify today because that's what feels good this morning. So I'm going to breathe in, and with my exhale, I'm going to lower all the way down. And I'm just going to do little tiny cobras. So on the inhale, little cobra, and I'm going to hold for a couple of breaths. Good. I like to kind of rock side to side. Feels good to my hips and my lower back. I'm gonna breathe here. With the exhale, I'm gonna relax back down. Then I'm gonna take a breath in. With the exhale, set the hips to the heels. And once again, taking a child's pose, taking it nice and easy this morning. Head and neck are relaxed. Remember, if child's pose doesn't feel good, take any other pose that does feel good. And then I'm going to go ahead and make my way forward to hands and knees. I'm going to tuck my toes, push back to down dog. From down dog, I'm going to breathe in, take this right leg up, foot flex, toes down. The lift can be a little lift. It can be a bigger lift, whatever feels good. With the exhale, I'm going to step the right foot to the outside of my right hand. I'm going to wiggle my left foot back, and I'm going to choose to go ahead and put the left knee down. You can definitely keep it lifted if you'd rather. So I'm coming into this lizard position, and right toes are going to turn out, right heel in, right? So I'm going to turn my foot out a little bit, getting that external rotation in my hip. My hips relax forward, the knee is bent. And I'm just going to hang out on hands for a couple of breaths. And then if it feels good and I want to go a little bit deeper, I definitely can. So if this feels okay, then I can walk forward. If that feels okay, then I can pop down to my forearms. Right? I don't have to come down to forearms. I can always put my forearms on blocks or books. Breathing. And then as I'm ready, you're just going to come back to your hands. And if you haven't put the back knee down, go ahead and put the back knee down. We're going to move into, again, the upper back here with a couple of little twists. So I'm going to take my left hand, walk it forward and over to the left so that I can lean into this left hand without collapsing into the shoulder. This is, I think I've mentioned before, like my favorite little movement to do. So I'm going to start first by taking my right hand to the inside of my right knee, and I'm just going to press open, little tiny twist. Then from here, if it feels stable, I'm going to take my right hand to the back of my right head. That's how I feel this morning. My right hand to the back of my head. I only have one. Then I'm going to breathe in, open up the elbow like I'm going to tap the ceiling. With the exhale, I'm going to curl in. Think about tapping my forearm. Inhale, open up. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, open up. Exhale, bring it in. And then this time, I'm going to open up and hold. And I can press my head back into my hand if it feels good. And breathe there. And then with my next exhale, hands are going to come underneath the shoulders. I'm going to tuck the back toes, straighten the back leg, and with the exhale, I'm just going to slide back to down dog. And I'm going to choose to hang out in down dog and pedal out. If you'd like to take a vinyasa, any variation, go ahead and take that now. And then once you press to down dog, we'll take the same thing on the other side. So as you're ready, left leg is going to lift. Remember, that can be that can be small or big. Foot flexed, hips are even. With the exhale, I'm going to step the foot to the outside of my left hand. I'm going to wiggle the right foot back, and I'm going to go ahead and put the right knee down. You don't have to, you can keep it lifted. I'm not looking for strengthening poses right now. I need something a little easier. So I'm going to take my toes and turn them out, heel in, right? My knee is bent. I'm relaxing the hips forward, and I'm just going to hang out on hands for a couple of breaths. And then again, you can start to kind of intensify the sensation if you'd like to. So you can stay on your hands. If after a couple of breaths that feels good, but maybe you want a little something different, you can walk the hands forward. You can stay there or pop down to forearms. If you come down to forearms, make sure that both forearms press down firmly. Sometimes it's tempting to just put the right forearm down and kind of hang out, but you want to think about letting your body feel even and balanced on both sides. So we're breathing here. then after a couple of breaths, as you feel ready, gently start to come back to the hands. Walk the right hand forward and off over to the right, right? And I'm gonna lean into that right hand without collapsing into the shoulder. I'm gonna take my left hand to the inside of my left knee, and I'm just gonna press open. And maybe I just hang out here today, maybe it feels good, right? If you like to take that other little variation with some more movement, you can take, sorry, there's dust on me. You can take the left hand to the back of your head, right? And on the inhale, I'm gonna think about taking this elbow and spiraling it open like I'm gonna tap the ceiling. With the exhale, I'm gonna round, think about tapping my right forearm. Inhale, open up. Exhale, bring it in. Inhale, open up. Exhale, bring it in. This time, open up, and I'm gonna hold here. I'm gonna think about pressing my head back into my hand because I think it feels really good. You can take that option if you like to. And then with the next breath, gently release the hands back under the shoulders. Tuck the back toes, straighten the back leg. With the exhale, slide it back, downward facing dog. Hang out in your down dog or take the vinyasa, any variation you like. I'm gonna take knees, chest, chin this time. So with the inhale, I'm gonna come forward to plank. With the exhale, I'm gonna lower knees, chest, chin, elbows close to the ribs. Inhale, I'm gonna pull forward, little baby cobra, head and neck relaxed, elbows in. Exhale, sit back and push back, downward facing dog. And then from down dog, with your next exhale, gently pop down to your hands and knees. Fix your pants if you need to. And we're gonna come into a little shoulder stretch. So your choice here, lots of variations. The one I'm gonna show you is from hands and knees. You can also take it from a child's pose instead, so I'll show you that. So we're gonna start with the right arm first. I'm gonna take the right arm on the breath in, reach up like I'm gonna tap the ceiling. And with the exhale, weave the arm underneath the left. Relax onto the right shoulder, onto the right cheek. Left hand reaches forward for stability. And so if this is a lot of pressure on your shoulder or maybe it just doesn't feel great, you can take it in a little child's pose variation, and that feels good too. If you're taking it from your hands and knees position, you can also add a little bit of variety by taking your left leg and stepping it out like a little kickstand. Toes are gonna point toward the front of whatever room you're in. And the whole reason that you may want to pop this leg out is it changes the sensation a bit, and I find that when I push into my foot and into my left hand, I get a little bit more traction in the right shoulder. So I'm going to breathe there. And then if you have the left leg out, go ahead and bring it in. Slide the left hand back, gently come back to hands and knees. I'm going to drop to cow. Drop to cow, breathe in. Exhale, round out. And then gently come back to neutral. We'll take the left side. So left hand's gonna reach up, tap the ceiling, beak. Exhale, weave it underneath the right. I'm relaxing onto my right shoulder and onto my right cheek. Right hand onto my left shoulder and left cheek. You know what I mean. Right hand's gonna reach forward. I can stay there, or I can kind of sit back into a little child's pose and take it. That feels good too. Or I can take my right leg and pop it out. And breathing. And take 2 more breaths. And then I'm gently going to slide my right hand back. Bring the right knee in if I had it out. Gently come back to hands and knees. Inhale, drop to cow. Exhale, round out, curl in. Come back to neutral. And then again, push back to downward facing dog. Then from my down dog, I'm going to stretch. I keep walking further and further back. From my down dog, I'm going to stretch back. Look forward, and with the exhale, step or walk my feet to my hands. Inhale to lengthen halfway. Exhale to fold back down. And then bend the knees, drop the hips, roll up. Breathing in, Shoulders release down the back with the exhale. From here, we're gonna go into some straddle folds. So I'm actually gonna turn, I'll turn to face you guys. So with your hands on your hips, go ahead and step your feet out, right? If you're using a mat and you're at the front of your mat, you can take a step out with your left leg or your right leg and turn all 10 toes to face whatever wall you're facing. And so from here, I'm going to start with hands on hips. We'll do a couple of folds here. Feel free to add any variation that you like. I'm going to roll the shoulders back, breathe in, and then with the exhale, fold forward. Relax the head and neck. And then I'm going to think about my elbows pointing up to the ceiling so that my shoulders roll away from my ears. Because I don't want my shoulders up by my ears like this. So I'm going to think elbows up, roll the shoulders back, and then tip the weight forward into the balls of my feet. And I'm going to breathe here. And then from here, after a couple of breaths, I'm just going to go ahead and let my fingertips come down, and that will help with stability. So my fingertips are going to come down, and they can always come onto blocks or books. I'm going to relax the head and neck, and I can use my hands to help me stabilize. And again, I'm tipping the weight forward into the balls of my feet, so it kind of feels like I'm going to fall onto my head. And I'm breathing. Then from here, I'm going to pop up onto my fingertips, right? So I can kind of lengthen my spine. I'm going to turn right toes out at a little 45-degree angle. Start to walk my hands to the right. Start to bend the right knee. So it can be a little bend, right? You have plenty of options here. This is your first option. Just a little bend so you can get into the inside of the left leg. If that feels good, but you want more, you can bend deeper. If that feels good and you want to, you can drop all the way down into the hip. You want to be sure that your right foot stays flat. So if it starts to lift up, that's maybe an indication that you want to prop here or come out of it. So this is your second option, or I can drop down. If I'm going to drop down, right foot stays flat, left toes can turn up, and I can leave fingertips down. Or if I feel stable, I can bring hands to heart, right? So again, any variation that you like. Maybe you want to put your right hand in front of your right foot and take that left arm and open up for a little twist. You can even reach over the ear. That's a pretty intense stretch. Breathe there. And then wherever you are, place your hands back down very gently and carefully. Press yourself back to center. All 10 toes are going to turn forward, and then you're going to fold once more. You may notice that you're going to fold a little bit more deeply here. Maybe your hips feel a little happier now. Then we'll take the other side. So lengthen the spine, come up onto your fingertips. Turn your left toes out a little bit. Walk your hands to the left. Start to bend your left knee. So the first variation is just a little micro bend, and my right foot's going to stay flat. If I want a bit more, I can bend a little bit more deeply, right? And make this angle a little bit more intense. I'm going to feel more to the inside of the leg. If I want, I can drop all the way down. If you want to come down, but maybe it's not feeling great or whatever, you can use blocks here underneath you. Actually, a block right underneath this hamstring, kind of close to the glute, really helps if you're going to take that option. Fingertips can stay down. If you're taking this variation, right foot flexes. Hands can go to the heart, or I can take that little twist, left hand in front of the left foot. Right arm can open up, or I can reach over the ear. I'm going to reach up. Breathe there. Sorry, my phone's propped up against a window and I can see people walking by and riding their bikes and stuff. It's such a nice day outside. And then back to center, both hands down. I'm going to gently rock that weight back to center. All 10 toes are going to point forward. Once more, I'm going to fold. Good. And I'm breathing here. Then from here, I'm going to walk my hands forward to press into a wide-legged downward facing dog. And it should feel really good after those stretches. So I'm just going to push back. In this variation, I like to turn my toes in and my heels out to get into the outer hips a bit more. You can take that option. And then you're gently going to walk your hands back towards your feet if you were taking that variation. Fold here. Take your hands to your hips Inhale to come up halfway, pause here with the exhale. Inhale, come all the way up. And then I'm just gonna turn my right foot forward, step up to the front of my mat, and by mat, I mean rug. Then we're just gonna do a little shake, do a full vinyasa, and then take it down onto the floor. Inhale to reach. Exhale to fold. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to fold, plant the hands, step to plank. Lower your choice, or you can push to down dog. This time I'm going to take the full vinyasa because I feel a little warmer. Oof. Good. Take 3 breaths in your down dog. And then from our down dog, we're going to come into pigeon. Now, pigeon has a lot of variety, and we'll find a variation that works for you. So the first option with the right leg, I'm going to take the right knee behind the right wrist, heel in line with the left hip point. The angle of the shin is up to you. The angle of the shin determines the intensity. So the more parallel it is, the more intense it will be. Then I'm going to scoot my left leg back, right? If there's a lot of space between my right hip and my floor, or the mat or whatever, I can take a couch cushion and use it to prop. This variation doesn't feel great for a lot of people. Maybe you have a knee injury or a hip injury, or maybe you just don't like it, right? Maybe it's just a little too much pressure. You can always take pigeon recline. So you'll come onto your back. Left knee is gonna stay bent, right ankle on top of your left thigh, and you can hang out here, right? So whatever option you want to take is perfectly fine. Find what works for you. Remind yourself that if it hurts, please don't do it. There's no point in making yourself feel pain. If I'm taking pigeon this way, I can stay on my hands as long as I'm leaning forward. I can walk forward, I can pop to forearms, I can come all the way down if that feels good. I can grab this little couch cushion and use it as a pillow, which is what I'm gonna do because this feels great. If you're taking reclined pigeon, you can always pull your knees into your chest. You can rock side to side, anything that feels good. We're gonna stay here for 5 breaths. Stay here longer if you like to, but with everything going on, our hips are probably feeling very tight and very sad. And so sometimes doing this kind of hip opening releases quite a bit of emotion. We talked about emotion when we set our intention. So if you feel a little overwhelmed or anything like that, give yourself permission. It's okay. And we're breathing. And I will admit that beginning this live flow, I was feeling really flustered because I couldn't find a place to film. My house is too small and my cat is just likes to get the attention from the camera. So I came over here and finally we got set up here, but I was feeling a little flustered. Now I feel a lot better. And now when we're ready, we're going to start to come out of pigeon. If you want to stay here longer, stay here longer. If you're in reclined pigeon, you can go ahead and start to switch sides into your left side. If you're taking pigeon this way, you can gently start to come back to your hands. Tuck the back toes, straighten the back leg, and with the exhale, release to down dog. Right, it may feel good to kind of pedal out a little bit or wiggle around, and then we'll take pigeon on the left side when you're ready. So again, with your exhale, left knee is gonna go behind the left wrist, heel in line with the hip point, scooting that right leg back. Remember, you can take it reclined. And if, let's say you have a lot of space underneath this hip, take a pillow, a cushion, whatever, put it underneath your hip and give yourself that support. It's gonna feel so much better, right? You can stay on hands as long as you're leaning forward. You don't want to sit straight up and hang out here because it's a lot of pressure in your lower back for an extended period of time. And if you want to come to forearms or come all the way down, or we can use our little pillow. I just grabbed this off the couch. Maybe you have a couch near you or a chair with a cushion, grab it, go for it. Now we're gonna breathe here. And I'm not turning away to be rude, but it's awkward to turn this way. So we're gonna take 5 breaths here. Shoulders are gonna stay relaxed, jaw relaxes. And if at any point you're like, ugh, too much, and you wanna come out, go for it. And then after a couple of breaths, when you're ready to come up, then you can come up and out. If you want to stay here longer, stay here longer. And we're reminding ourselves to use those exhales to release the tension. Remember, you don't want your tension to pinball around your body, right? So I may be releasing the tension from the hip, but if I'm not taking those full exhales to release, then maybe the tension from the hip just moves to my shoulder or my lower back or my neck or my jaw or what have you. So you want to use those exhales, right? We don't want to hold our breaths. So now we're going to take hands back under the shoulders, tuck the back toes, and with the exhale, release to down dog. If you were taking reclined pigeon, you can just go ahead and come to a seated position because we're going to meet you there. If you're in down dog, pedal out a little bit if you need to. And then we're going to go ahead and make our way through to seated. So now as we come to seated, we're going to take Baddha Konasana. Soles of the feet together for cobbler's pose. And if you're wearing socks or anything right now, that's totally fine. If you are barefoot, I'm going to give you this weird little option to take for Baddha Konasana. So you don't have to because it's a little odd. But you can interlace your fingers with your toes, which yes, is as weird as it sounds. So it's like I'm gonna hold my hands, it's like I'm gonna hold hands with my feet. It sounds really weird and gross, but you can take it if you want to. It feels good, okay? So now I'm gonna interlace my fingers with my toes. One side's really easy because you have your other hand to help you, but the other side's kind of hard to do. And if you feel kind of a lot of sensitivity here, like I think this is pretty intense to be honest, it's because we don't really ever stimulate the nerves between our toes, right? They don't ever get any love, really. So we want to be sure that we're getting a little love to all parts of our bodies, right? And so this is really good for your feet, especially if you're stuck in shoes all day long. I've been barefoot like this entire time, so that's been nice, but it's still nice to give your feet a little love because they support you through everything that you do. So if you're taking this option, you can lengthen the spine, roll the shoulders back, right? If you'd like to, you can lean forward. If at any point you're like, uh-oh, too much, you can come out of it. One time, okay, this is maybe not the time to tell you a story, but I will. One time I was just like in the rabbit hole of YouTube, and I saw a video of this girl doing yoga, and she could interlace her toes, like how we interlace fingers. She could do it with her toes without using her hands, and it was amazing. So maybe that's something to work toward, I don't know. Breathe here. Relax the head and neck, keep the long spine so you can take full deep breaths. Take one more deep breath. Exhale, and then gently release your fingers from your toes if you had it, wiggle around, and then inhale, come back up. We're gonna bring our knees together. And now I'm gonna turn so you can see, I'm gonna take my feet a little bit wider than the width of my hips, and I'm gonna do those little windshield wipers that I'm so fond of. So you can kind of rest back on your hands and windshield wiper. That should feel good to your hips after that pigeon and that cobbler's pose. Whew. Good. And then when you're ready, we're gonna go ahead and scoot forward onto our mats or floors or whatever you have, and go ahead and come onto your back. And I'm actually gonna grab, getting creative here, I'm gonna grab these two just in case. So I'm gonna come down onto my back, and I'm just gonna start with knees bent, right? So as I start with bent knees, all I'm gonna wanna do here is think about my lower back pressing into the mat or into the floor to kind of give my lower back a release. And you can also do this by very gently pressing into your feet, and you'll feel the curve of your lower back just kind of flatten out. And if it feels good, you can hang out there. If not, you can just relax back. Good. And then from here, we're gonna work into our inversion. So you can take any inversion that you like to. Maybe you wanna take bridge pose or supported bridge or waterfall or wheel, shoulder stand, plow, headstand, whatever you want to do, right? I've got these handy dandy pillows next to me, so I'm going to take supported bridge with the pillow. In fact, I might take it with two pillows, we'll see. So to take supported bridge, I'm going to press down, lift my hips up, slide something, whatever you've got underneath the hips, right? So this feels good, but I want a little bit more lift, so I'm going to take the second one, place it, oops, Okay, well maybe just one, because maybe two is too many. Alright, this will work for us today. So if you've got a pillow or something, even if it's just a folded blanket, anything, the little tiniest lift will feel good to your lower back for the most part. Or maybe you have kind of a thicker cushion, you can use that. These are kind of hard to smush underneath me, so I'm just going to use the one. And we're going to breathe. Then you can let your hands rest above your head or down by your sides or whatever. And then if you like to here, you can just hang out, or you can pull your knees into your chest, which normally with a little lift underneath you will give your lower back a lovely little stretch. I can even rock side to side if it feels good. If this feels like too much pressure on your SI joint, you can also put your feet back down. And I can stay here, or I can take a waterfall position and extend my legs up. Maybe I can wiggle my toes or roll my ankles around or do whatever feels good. I can even bring this into a hip opener by flexing my feet and taking my legs open like a little straddle position. And I can breathe there. I like to kind of rock side to side there, get into the hip a little bit more, and breathe. But remember that this practice, you want to think about finding the ease instead of the effort, right? And taking a couple of breaths here. And then if I have the legs extended, we can go ahead and start to bring them together. I like to use my hands to help me. I can hang out my waterfall a little longer. I can bend my knees. I'm going to bend them and hug them in a little bit, give my lower back some love. And then gently placing the feet back down. Whatever inversion you were in, you can stay there a little longer, or you can start to come out. I'm going to gently press into my feet, lift my hips, slide this little pillow out so I can come back down onto my back. And before I do any kind of rounding, I'm just going to do little windshield wipers. You may have heard my hip just pop there. And then we'll take a twist together, and then we'll come into Shavasana. So bringing knees into the chest, and dropping both knees over to the right, opening up the left arm, and actually if you've got a cushion, put it between your knees. Ooh, so comfortable. That feels good. And breathe here. I can even look over my left shoulder if that feels good. Take the twist all the way into the neck. And then with the next breath, I can gently come back through center. I can keep the little cushion pinned between my knees if I want to, or I can release it. And I'm going to take the twist on the left side. I'm going to stick this cushion between my knees because it feels good. Open up the right arm. Maybe look to the right if it feels good. And then with the next breath, I'm gently going to bring myself back through center, release my little cushion, and then taking any final pose maybe that you want before Shavasana. Maybe you want a happy baby or something like that. Go ahead and take that. And I'm going to go ahead and set up for a little Shavasana. So I like to extend the legs here and just kind of chill. If you are near a wall space, maybe you want to put your legs up the wall. If you're like me and you're next to a couch, you can always turn, take your legs on top of the couch. Actually, this feels really good, so I changed my mind. I'm going to stay here instead. And just taking a couple of deep breaths, I can bring this little cushion under my head. Ooh, this is nice. It's actually too much of a lift right now, but it feels good. So instead, you guys know I'm just going to find props anywhere I go. I'm going to take these underneath my hands so that I can bend my elbows. Because, fun fact, bending in the joints, elbows, knees, things like that, helps initiate a relaxation response. That's why a lot of times when we feel upset, we want to curl in, make ourselves small, because bending at those joints initiates relaxation responses. So, if you put a bend in your knees and your elbows when you're feeling stressed, it will help you calm down. So take a nice deep breath in. Exhale completely. Deep breath in. Exhale completely. And again, deep breath in. Full exhale. And settling into our Shavasana, reminding ourselves that every breath in is an opportunity to take in what we need. Every exhale is a chance to release something that no longer serves us. So maybe while we rest in Shavasana, you might think to yourself that I am inhaling love, exhaling judgment. I am inhaling connection, exhaling separation, inhaling patience, exhaling frustration, inhaling acceptance, exhaling shame, inhaling community, exhaling feeling isolated, and maybe continuing that pattern of breath if it serves you. Reminding yourself to give yourself permission to feel without attaching, and to release without judging. Taking a few more breaths here. And then as you're ready, you're going to gently start to come out of Shavasana. If you want to stay there longer, ignore me, stay in Shavasana for another 10 minutes or so. I'm going to gently start to come out. So you can start to wiggle your fingers and your toes, rotate wrists and ankles, extend the arms overhead if it feels good. And then if you want to bend your knees, you can rest your feet on the floor or pull your knees into your chest, maybe rock side to side. And then gently roll all the way onto your right side. Pause there, let your head rest on your arm. And then gently press up to come back to seated. And so we're going to close our practice together. And so taking the hands back onto the knees the way that we began. Full breath in through the nose. Complete exhale. And taking a moment with the palms up in this gesture of receiving to give ourselves permission to receive. Giving ourselves permission to receive as much as we give. And then bringing the hands together at the heart in prayer in this gesture of gratitude and humility. Closing our practice, reminding ourselves that everything is temporary. And to pay attention to the way that we attach to feelings, situations. Reminding ourselves that it is okay to feel, and it is also okay to release the feeling. Reminding ourselves that we are not alone, that we are all connected. That when we feel anxious, nervous, scared, angry, frustrated, that we are not alone, that we are a community, that we share, that we are one. And to make it part of our intention throughout this difficult time, to lift each other up, to support each other, to help each other. And so we offer up our practice, our intention, our movement, and close saying together and to each other, the light in me honors the light in you. Namaste. Thank you guys so much for sharing with me today. I know that a home practice is really difficult. I understand. It's really easy for me to just go to the studio and, hang out there, and it's super relaxing and calm, and I love it. It's really difficult here when things get stuck to your hands, and then I look under the couch and I see a gummy bear, and there's a yellow gummy bear right here. So I know it's distracting, but we just have to do the best we can, even if that's just 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or maybe it's just I'm going to throw my legs up on the couch while I'm watching TV. That's fine, right? Anything. Okay, so thank you guys. Jessica will be with you guys tomorrow at 11. Sunday, we're gonna kind of take the day off, maybe use that time to practice something else. Maybe you read, maybe you paint, maybe you take a nap, maybe you cook something delicious, maybe you garden, any of those things. And then Monday we'll be back again. I'll keep posting and updating you guys, but I appreciate your support. I appreciate feeling connected to you guys, and thank you. Namaste. I hope you all have a great day. It's so nice outside. I think I'm gonna go for a walk in a little bit. Okay, bye guys.